Hey, I'm Bryce Johnson for today's Unpack This devotional. Last night's NBA draft is over, but man, it was awesome to watch. And as a Duke fan, I especially enjoyed seeing Zion Williamson and RJ Barrett and Cam Reddish get drafted. And those guys, I know because I watched them during the season. I know their game. I know how good they can be. I know that Cam Reddish is going to be a steal for Atlanta. RJ Barrett's a guy that they can really build around in New York. And Zion Williamson, he's going to live up to the hype. Because I was able to, watch them progress during the season, I experienced them, during the year and during March Madness. Those guys I really knew. But what I noticed last night, there were a lot of players that I just didn't know. I wasn't familiar with them. I had never really experienced watching them. And a guy like Darius Garland was injured and barely played at Vanderbilt, and he was a top pick. But I really didn't know if he's going to be a good player, a great player, or maybe he can't play at all. I just don't know enough. So I was reliant on the quote-unquote experts to tell me about players like him. And so I'm sitting back just listening to what they have to say and trying to form my own opinion based on what they're saying. And so this reminds me of really our perspective on Jesus. And we have basically two choices. We can either only rely on what other people say about him, or we can know Jesus for ourselves. We can experience him personally, intimately, and spend time with him and know his voice and know his power and his goodness and know his grace and his mercy. Or we can just rely on what people say on social media, or maybe it's just a pastor, or maybe it's just a parent. But if that's all we're doing, we're missing out on knowing Jesus personally. Paul writes this: I count everything as loss compared to the priceless privilege and supreme advantage of knowing Christ Jesus my Lord, and of growing more deeply and thoroughly acquainted with him, a joy unequaled. For his sake I have lost everything, and I consider it all garbage so that I may gain Christ. That's the Amplified Version. I'm Bryce Johnson, and you can unpack that.